Alrighty fellas, if you are struggling on this boss, have no fear, I'm here. But without further ado, let's get into the guide. Ikuze. Alrighty boys, so let's go ahead and talk about the mechanics for this fight, starting with the enemies. So let's go ahead and talk about Red Rider first, who in my opinion is the most manageable one to deal with. So what Red Rider does is he just does a bunch of physical attacks. It doesn't really do that much damage, but the main thing with his mechanic is he will inflict this debuff that makes your highlight go a bit slower by like 40%, but you can stop that by just straight up killing him. But I'm gonna be real, he's not the main problem in this fight at all. The main problem in this fight is gonna be the next ad, Pale Rider. So Pale Rider, what he is he's the enemy brainwashing unit. And how long does his brainwash last, if you ask? It lasts 2 turns. Now the only way that you can get rid of it is A, debuff cleansing, or B, just outright killing him. Both are fine options. Now let's go ahead and talk about the boss himself. So this boss is quite crazy at level 30. He hits really freaking hard. He does have Mataru Kaja, which buffs like all like the ads and himself on the screen. He hits really hard, especially with Myriad Slashes. What Myriad Slashes will do to you is it will make your health bar just look like nothing. So this is why it's important to bring a good healer or a good guardian that can help you in this fight. As for his second mechanic, he can inflict this thing called Ethereal Substance. So what is this Ethereal Substance, you ask? So he inflicts it on any random ad on the screen, and what it will do is after 2 turns, he will kill that ad on the screen and it will heal him, right? That can happen in phase 1 or phase 2. So now I'll go ahead and tell you what the strategy for this fight is. So phase 1 is practically easy peasy lemon squeezy. You just kill Pale Rider and then you start focusing on the boss himself, right? Rinse, repeat. In this case, my Kasumi, even with a 4-star weapon, can kill Mach in like about 1 turn. Some of y'all might take 2 turns, which is okay, but just rinse, repeat, kill Pale Rider, then kill Mach. Now, in phase 2, this is when it starts getting cancer. So obviously he's still gonna start inflicting the whole Ethereal Substance thing on his ads. So you want to pray to dear God that he only inflicts that on Pale Rider, since essentially what you want to do in phase 2 is you want to focus everything you have at the start on Pale Rider. You can straight up ignore Red Rider. Red Rider, whatever, he's a fraud. He doesn't really threaten you that much. So once you kill Pale Rider, you gotta pray that Ethereal Substance isn't inflicted on Red Rider himself. So once you hit that objective of killing Pale Rider, all you need to do now is focus on the boss himself. Now, let's say, for example, if he does inflict Ethereal Substance on Red Rider. Well, what do you do then? Well, you practically have no choice but to start targeting Red Rider. So TLDR, if both ads have Ethereal Substance on them inflicted, you want to kill both of them, and then after that, go for the boss. If you're lucky, and he only inflicts Ethereal Substance on Pale Rider, well, once Pale Rider's dead, you can just start going ham on the boss itself. So, again, I'll summarize this again. Phase 1, you kill Pale Rider, then you focus on the boss. Then in phase 2, he summons both Pale Rider and Red Rider. You want to take out Pale Rider as soon as you possibly can, and then pray to dear God that Red Rider is not inflicted with Ethereal Substance. If he isn't, well, you can start focusing the boss, and rinse repeat like that for all of phase 2. But without further ado, boys, I'll go ahead and start showing you the rev cards, the team that I used, and the mindscapes. Ikuze. Alrighty, boys, so let's go ahead and talk about the rev cards and the mindscapes for this team, shall we? So, starting with Sumi/Violet, you're going to want the Blessed DPS set, Wisdom and Virtue. Here is her mindscape. And yes, I did indeed clear with a 4-star weapon at R6. Now let's talk about our strategist Cord here. Cord's going to be running the Highlight Boost set, Trust and Prosperity. Here is her Mindscape. And now let's talk about our main healer slash sustain. She also can buff attack and pierce, right? That's why I brought along Minami here. And we need a debuff cleanser, so she's perfect for this role. Here is her set, Creation Reconciliation. What this set does is it essentially gives a damage boost to your lowest speed ally. So in this case, Kasumi. And it also buffs all stats, including attack. Now, here is her Mindscape. It's pretty much bare bones. And lastly, Futaba, our navigator, is going to be running Resolve and Labor. And here's her Mindscape. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Wonder and whatnot. So, Wonder Dagger, you have 3 options. You can run Ex Machina. Now, if you do run Ex Machina, you're going to have to put a Bless Persona as your starter. Get the Bless Amp. Or Arc Knife if you need extra defense reduction. Or you can run Glimmer if you want the Bless Damage Amp. In this case, I went ahead and just ran Glimmer since I had R6. Now, Wonder here, his personas are pretty easy to use. We're going to be running Dionysus here for Rebellion. For the crit rate buff. Next is Sarosha. Sarosha, we're just going to be using Absolute Obedience, his signature skill. And lastly, Sandalphon here is to make sure that I stay alive, because the ads and the boss do hit pretty hard. So we're going to be using Devoted Guard a lot and his highlight, which gives a crazy big shield. But yeah, other than that, boys, let's go ahead and let's get into the run. Ikuze. So I guess I'll go ahead and start off by describing you what each party member does on this team. So Wonder is going to be your crit rate buffer, right? He's going to be using Sarosha to make Kasumi's highlight damage do more numbers. Sandalphon for him is going to be a good sustain secondary choice for the team. Like his shields are great. He provides a damage amp for Kasumi if targeted, and his highlight gives like a pretty huge shield. And next is Cord. So Cord is going to be your double highlight spammer, buffer, and of course Minami is going to be the one that heals you and buffs your pierce and your attack when healed. And Kasumi obviously is going to be doing your damage, right? Her rotation's pretty basic at A0. It's literally just skill 2, target Cord, skill 1, and then Masquerade, highlight into skill 3. Now keep in mind that Futaba here, her rotations are going to look finicky because you do want to time Futaba's weakness implant with Kasumi's highlights. So I do want you to pay attention to how I do my Futaba rotations. Other than that, on phase 1, like I said, just focus on Pale Rider, kill him, and then you can start targeting the boss. But yeah, good luck on phase 1, and I'll talk to y'all once we hit phase 2. Alrighty, boys. Well, welcome to phase 2 of this fight. So here he's going to start summoning all the ads. And like I said, you want to target Pale Rider first and foremost. And there is a little bit of RNG / luck in this phase. You just got to pray that he doesn't inflict Inferior Substance on Red Rider. And you only want him inflicting that onto Pale Rider so that by the time you hit Sumi's double highlight rotation in Masquerade, you can just hard focus every ounce of Sumi damage, including skill 3, on the boss. But anyways, good luck in this phase, and I'll talk to y'all when I see something come up. I forgot to mention this, but with Minami here, you can always just target the person that is your DPS, that being Sumi. But if you're low awareness, I would probably just target the person that is getting brainwashed so that it debuff cleanses. But in this case, since I'm about A2, I can afford to target Sumi and it'll still target the person getting brainwashed. But yeah, just continue focus targeting on Pale Rider, and then once you're done with that, we can start tackling the boss. So, by this point, if you're lucky, Red Rider should not be inflicted with Inferior Substance. So now you can just start going ham on the boss. Of course, make sure Futaba's skill 3 is aligned with Sumi's double highlight rotation, like I said earlier. Okay, so notice Red Rider now does have Inferior Substance inflicted on him, but I wouldn't use Kasumi's highlight on him. I would use it on the boss instead, so we get more damage onto the boss itself. And then once you're in Sumi's turn herself, you just use skill 3 on Red Rider and it should kill him, and you wouldn't have to worry about Inferior Substance for like maybe another turn or so. Okay, this is where my Futaba rotations are very important. So you saw right there how I stalled. You don't want to use Futaba S1 there. You want to save it when he spawns in the Red Rider again. So by the time you do skill 1 there, you're going to have skill 3 available for Kasumi's, again, double highlight masquerade rotation. I am aware that we do have Masquerade now, but don't try to use it in a hurry. Like I said, you want to align it with Futaba's S3 as you possibly can, because if you use it here and paired with Futaba S1 and whatnot, you're not going to be getting the max amount of output that you can get if you're not using Futaba's weakness implant. And I forgot to also mention this as well, but Minami's highlight can also debuff cleanse as well. So you saw how I used it there. Now that, what's it called? Violet is fine now. You can use that to your advantage. And then if you do use Minami's heal there, just guard with her so you can get a little bit of SP back. Because in this fight, you will be struggling with SP for a little bit. So it's okay to guard during a few turns.
本番だよカリオペ。これが私の全力の歌。サントリオやっちゃいましょう。支援準備かい？ミッシス私のでバトルデータ解析。どれどれ
And of course, if this wasn't obvious enough, if you are on the Sumi highlight rotation, always make sure that you use Sarosha's skill 1, so that Sumi's highlight just does more big PP damage, if I didn't already mention it. But yeah, there you go. And Sarosha's highlight's also pretty good too. You know, it can also inflict like a blast damage taken. Very nice. And if you have it paired with Futaba S3, it can, you know, down the enemies, giving you extra 1-mores and follow-ups. It's very handy. So if you noticed like a second ago, I did ended up using Sumi's highlight first before I used Cord Catchy Hook, because if you have a situation like this where the enemies go before Violet does, you just straight up want to do Violet's highlight first before Cord's Catchy Hook, because you want to, like I said, again, I sound like a broken record, align that with Futaba S3. So by the time it reaches Violet, Futaba's S3 is no longer on duration. So if that ever happens, now y'all know what to do. And I'm going to go ahead and keep reminding y'all, like throughout this fight, at least on phase 2, I made sure to kill any of the riders that had inferior substance on them. So what you can do is, let's say for example you're on the double highlight rotation with Sumi, and there's like a rider that has the inferior substance on him. So instead of using that highlight on the red rider or pale rider, you can always just use Sumi S3 in Masquerade, because as you know, S3 in Masquerade does like a crap ton of damage, and that should one-shot any of the riders. But off of highlight rotations, always make sure you use Violet S2 and S1 to target that one specific rider. In this case, if you're lucky enough, Pale Rider with his inferior substance, so that by the time you hit the double highlight rotation, all you would have to do is just use skill 3 on that said rider that has inferior substance, and that rider will be gone, and you could just aggro the boss. But yeah, I've pretty much spilled all my tricks and beans for this fight, and practically we're almost done anyways. So I wish y'all the best of luck. You're at the end game now. The boss has like a sliver of HP left if you're at this point. So I'll talk to y'all at the end of the video.
いただいていく。
治療の時間ね。タレイヤ倒れさせない。ありがとうございます。日差しの力よ。ついてるぞ。華麗にやっちゃって。道を切り開くよ。サンドリオ。続けていきますね。いい歌を届けよう。カリオペ。
似つかわしくないな。
カリオペ。聞いてほしいこの歌を。ないんだけど。見せてサンドリオ。手は抜きません。
ヘルゾラー。サンダルフォン、ディオニュソス、受けてみろ。
手伝ってタレイヤ。来てペルソナギア。ありがとうカリオペ。本番だよカリオペ。大丈夫だから。ムッシッシン、私の出番だな。ムッシッシン、私の出番だな。ムッシッシン、パスワード解除。サンドリオ、やっちゃいましょう。必殺いけるぞ。華麗にやっちゃって。私の力で道を切り開くよ。サンドリオ。
But yeah, boys, if you kind of notice, my rotations at the end here kind of got a little bit messy. But just take my advice from a few minutes earlier and apply it to this later part of the fight. Of course, stuff like, you know, delay your Futaba rotations to align S3 with Kasumi, using Wonder Sarosha whenever Kasumi's in Masquerade with the double highlight turn. Make sure you target the riders that have the inferior substance, stuff like that. But yeah, if you made it here, well, I mean, GG's, man. You pretty much beat the fight. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all once this run is completely over.
道を切り開くよサンドリオ。支援準備か。ムッシッシン、私の出番だな。バトルデータ解析。サンドリオ、やっちゃいましょう。お疲れさんだ。
Alrighty, boys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll get to you as soon as I possibly can. And if you really enjoyed this one, maybe leave a sub. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It would make me happy, and it would keep encouraging me to make more videos for y'all. But anyways, yeah, I do have a lot of things planned, like an A6 R6 Sumi showcase, as you know from my previous roasting video of my guild. Y'all should watch it. It's pretty funny, by the way. You know, I do have a lot of variety content that I want to make for 5X as well, so that's coming up. I'm cooking it at the moment, y'all. But yeah, I'll talk to y'all on the next video. Deuces.